عزیز طلبہ و طالبات، فروق فاؤنڈیشن آن لائن اسکول کے ذریعے یکساں نصاب کے مطابق تعلیم حاصل کریں۔ اگر ہماری ویڈیوز پسند آئیں تو چینل کو سبسکرائب کریں اور دوستوں کے ساتھ شیئر کریں اور بیل آئیکن کو لازمی دبائیں تاکہ آئندہ آنے والی تعلیمی ویڈیوز آپ حاصل کر سکیں۔
بچو تاسو آنلاین سکول نه خپل پوره تعلیم کوي شي او د بورډ ایگزامز د نم او د لسم والا هم پاسول شي. تاسو خپل نور هم تعلیم حاصل کوي شي خپل عمر مطابق. خپل مور یا پلار ته فون یا لیپټاپ ذریعے مونږ سره آنلاین کلاس هستنو دپاره خبره کوي شي. روزانه یو یا 2 غنټې آنلاین کلاس اخلي نو بیا چې تاسو سکول ته ځئ نو تاسو ته به نور مدد ضرورت نه وي. داسې پړۍ سره تاسو خپل ټایم او د مور او پلار والا پیسې هم بچ کوي شي. آنلاین کلاس څه هم فیس نشته. تاسو زوم باندې نور هم کلاسز هستل شي او هر مضمون والا مکمل ویڈیوز موجودی دي. Today we will be going to start our new unit, that is unit 6. It is a poem named as Little Things. So we will be learning this new poem. So students, let's get started. So this is a poem about little things, the importance of little things in our life. First, I will be reading this poem, then little by little we will be doing its difficult words, then I'll be explaining the stanzas. So first of all, let me read this poem. Little drops of water, little grains of sand, make the mighty ocean and the pleasant land. And the little moments, humble though they be, make the mighty ages of eternity. Little deeds of kindness, little words of love, make our earth an Eden like the heaven above. Julia A. Carney. So this poem is written by a poetess named as Julia A. Carney. She was born in 1823 and she died in 1908. She was an American educator and a poet. Many of her poems were published in textbooks. So while I have read this poem, it seems that it is quite easy to understand. So we will be focusing on the theme, that what is the theme of this poem, because if we know the theme of the poem then we can easily understand the whole thing. Like in the end we can read out the theme here. In this poem the poet tells us the importance of little things. For example, little drops not only make big oceans but also make the land fertile and full of life. In the same way, little minutes when combined make history. So from these lines we can conclude that how these little things are important in our life, even if it is a little struggle, even if it is a little act of kindness or act of love or word or any kind words that we use in our daily life. If we help someone, these are the little things that can bring great changes in our life. So we do not need to do something big to make our life great. Rather, we should focus on the little things to make our life great and bring about a great change in our life. So the poetess is also focusing on these little things. So she has mentioned the little things in this poem, like the drops of water, the grains of sand. So these are the kind of imageries used in this poem. So first of all we will be doing the words meaning that are difficult. Here it is, the words are mentioned like little, humble, ocean, ages, moments, heaven, deeds and Eden. I'll be telling you the meanings of these difficult words. So the meaning of the word little is small. Humble means not proud. Ocean, it is a large body of water, usually larger than a sea or a river. Ages, a long time. Moments, the smallest portion of time. Heaven, sky. Deeds, an action. Eden, paradise. Little वाला मतलब दादा जी usage word के भी small. Humble, not proud. This you act चिकुम के चोक जान गुरूर पकने भी आगे तमु humble यायु. Ocean, large body of water, means जे यू समंदर ने चिकुम स्तर उबो वाला चिकुम portion भी कना है तमु ocean यायु. Ages, long time. Long time मतलब जो यूज़र time तीर भी like centuries दोरस time जी तीर भी आगे तमु ages यायु like a Greek age जैसे कि Greek age यो long time हो आते रहता. Moments, the smallest portion of time चिकुम यो लम्हे वाला moments ता असल के मु लम्हा यायु लम्हा चिकुम यो मगर time तीर ही ओ मुता पता वने लगी. Heaven, sky, आसमान. Deeds, यो कार्य चदवा के खडीड्स वी बाद डीड्स वी. Eden, paradise. Eden चदा मु जन्नत यायु. First, I will be reading the first stanza. That is, the little drops of water, little grains of sand, make the mighty ocean and the pleasant land. So, let me read the explanation of this stanza, in which the poem starts with the lines in which the poetess says that the little drops of water and the little grains of sand, which are nothing individually, but when comes in the collection, they become responsible for the formation of huge land masses and endless oceans. So it is the drops of water and the grains of sand which seems nothing to us are actually responsible for our existence. So it is quite clear here that the poetess wants to say that even the little things which we consider in our daily life as nothing and having no importance are actually responsible for our existence. For example, if we see the water, if we cannot live without water, and mostly we just waste it, and sand and everything, even if it is something physical or even if it is something abstract, everything counts in our life. Nothing is useless. So sometimes these little things when combined together can bring about great changes in our life. And when we see them individually, means if we see a thing separately, we think of it as nothing. But when all these little things are combined together, they make something great. Like for example, if the little drops of water when combined together, they make oceans. And the same is the case with the little grains of sand. When they are combined together, they make huge lands. So this is a kind of comparison made, but same is the case in our life, that when we see something which does not seem to us of great importance, we simply ignore it that time. But when we focus on it, that how these little things can bring about change, that is the moment that we feel very the great importance of these little things. Little the stanza के poetess यही कहना चाहिए कला बड़ा शेना लगा खपला के मिलाऊशी आबे great change रवली का आगायो शेमु बेले तरीके से रोगुरु का यो little drop of water था अही तो वो मुझे importance ले मेरे को हो कमा hard drops of water खपला के मिलाऊशी होगा ना ocean जुड़शी नमु तो ocean डेर से तगड़ शेला की नॉंदे तरीके से रचे sand मतलब शगत में भी ऐसा का कमु बेल या गुरु नमु तो से importance नहीं कता है कि हो कमु मगा sand मगा शगा खद्द से खपला के मिलाऊशी ना है ना huge lands जुड़शी नो देना मुझे पता लगा कि चियो शेख बेले भी है वाले दो importance नहीं हो जा खपला के योग बल शी सर मिलाऊशी ना ही वाले डेर ज़्यादा importance भी और time मुआ है मनी focus को चिदा चोरा ज़रूरी भी बड़ा शेख ना चोरा ज़रूरी भी नो चिदा poetism दा कहना the little things मनी focus करे चिदा वाले डेर ज़्यादा importance भी मुआला life के अंदाम वाला अंदाम वजह भी जो दौरा चे जुएंटियो करने द अंतो वालों शेख नहीं तो विजने चिकुमु आम तौर बनी न नोटिस को हमने focus न को خو اصل کې موله اندا وړې شي نه لټل تھنگز دی چې کوم موله ریسپانسیبل دی چې لپاره ایگزیسټنس لپاره موله وجود لپاره هر یو شی امپورټنٹ ده. The next stanza, the little moments, humble though they be, make the mighty ages of eternity. In this second stanza, the poetess says that besides waiting for huge celebrations, enjoy every little moment of life, because at the end these small moments can give you huge happiness. These small moments of happiness and joy have their own importance in our life, and the only thing that decides how happy you were throughout the year is how efficiently you enjoyed your every single moment of your life. Okay, so here the poetess wants to say that you need to enjoy every little bit of your life. You do not need to be proud of something or of like to make something huge. Even a single bit of happiness, even a single bit of joy, or everything that happens to us in our daily life should be enjoyed as much as we enjoy some great things that happen to us sometimes in our life. So the same is the case, that we should not only enjoy like moments of huge happiness, we should also enjoy the moments of small happiness. So in this way we can say that we have enjoyed our life to its fullest. دس ټینځه کې دا یې کنه چې موږ ته دا پکار ده چې موږ غټ شي ول انتظار نه کوو چې موږ له زندګي کې خوشحالي راشي. موږ ته نور وړو شیانو خوشحالي دن پکار ده. اصل کې پویټس چې ده کنه د شي من دا فوکس کی چې موږ ته هر یو وړي خوشحالي ته امپورټنس ورکول پکار ده. ان دې طریقې سره موږ دا کول شو چې موږ وکی کې خپل پورا لایف انجوای کوي شو. اهینه بغیر نه کیږي, اهینه بغیر موږ خپل لایف ګریټ نشو جوړول. So we are going to study this stanza 3. Now in the last little deeds of kindness, little words of love make our earth an Eden like the heaven above. Now in the last stanza, poetess says that our little acts of kindness and little words of love can even change a whole person. Sometimes these small words of love turn anger to love, changes hate to love. The small act of kindness helps to establish a peaceful environment on the earth, and with this peaceful and loving environment, the earth will appear like heaven. Means our small acts of kindness and small words of love can make our earth like heaven. So in this last stanza, the poetess is focusing on two things: kindness and love. These little acts of kindness and little words of love can like change even a person, can even change our whole lives. So it depends on us that how we deal with the situation and how we deal with the people. If we are acting kindly and lovingly, we can create a peaceful environment for ourselves as well as for other people around. So in this way we can live in a peaceful environment. And when our environment and when your surrounding, your society becomes peaceful, so you can create a better world for yourselves, and it can seems like a heaven, like an Eden for us. It can make our earth an Eden. So the poetess has here given the comparison of Eden that we can establish on this earth by doing kindness and love. Only these two things are required to make this earth an Eden, like a heaven. So here we need to focus on how we are dealing with people around us and how we are kind to them, whether we are using lovely words or we are our behavior is kind or not. This stanza के poetess दो शैन ونه focus करे दा kindness منی और love منی چې موږ سره خپل انوایرمنټ کې خلکو سره کایند یو او موږ سره هغو سره لوینګلی یو. که موږ خپل غواړو چې انوایرمنټ موږ پیسفل جوړ کړو نو هغې دپاره موږ ته صرف دوه شیانو والا ضرورت ده: کایندنس او لو والا. دا دوه شیانې داسې دي چې دې سره موږ خپل انوایرمنټ پیسفل جوړوی شو، موږ خپل لایف هم پیسفل جوړوی شو او خپل آس پاس نورو خلکو والا لایف هم پیسفل جوړوی شو. نو پویټس هم غواړي چې موږ ته صرف دا دوه شیانې پکار دي چې موږ خپل چې کوم د ارت کنه دنه جنت جوړ کړو. لکه دا دوه شیانو د وجې نه چې دا کنه موږ له د ارت چې کوم دا جنت جوړېدی شي. هغې دا کمپیریزن چې دا کنه داسې کې یوز کړی ده نو اہی دے پارا کائنڈنس اور لو اور ٹولنا زیادہ ضروری دی. Hope the poem is now clear to you, and now we will be doing the remaining words meaning. Mighty means huge, possessing great and impressive power or strength. Pleasant, causing a sense of happiness or enjoyment. Humble, showing a modest or low esteem of one's importance. Grains, a seed or seeds from a plant. Eternity, forever and endless. Mighty वाला मतलब ده يوشي جد كم دير زيت غرت وي كم سر دير زيت power وي يا غولا strength دير زيت وي طاقتور چکم يوشي وي. Pleasant يود سے feeling چکم نخوشحالی کیگی کم نمو يوشي enjoy کوي شو اخ feeling the pleasant ویلشي. Humble, showing modest or low esteem of one's importance ده والا مطلب ده شي يوكس عجز وي. Grains, grain seeds they. Eternity means ہمیشہ ابدی چکم ہم کلم نہ ختمیگی. So the questions we will be doing in the next slide. Now we will be reading choose the correct options to fill in the blanks. The poem Little Thing is written by Julia Carney. It's a C option. Little dash of sand. It is little grains of sand. C option. Make the mighty ocean. Option A. And the dash land pleasant. Option B. So let me answer those questions for you. The first one is write the main idea of the poem. So the main idea of the poem is that we should take care of little things, little deed of kindness and little words of love. Look small things, but they can make a great change. Our world will become an Eden if we are kind and loving. So, as we have read already, that only two things are important to make, to sum up this whole poem, that is the little things. Sometimes we feel like doing something for someone can really bring a smile on their face and they can make even their whole day pleasant. So these little two things are so much important in our life that we should mainly focus on these two things in order to make our life pleasant. The main idea poem wala da chikum act of kindness muta pukada chum har vado khabar wala har vado shayn wala khpali zindagi ke khayal se tu aha kabe kindness matlab ta cha sara khakai ya be the little words of love دا هر یو شی مو ته اصل کې وړه لګي خو کوم مو غواړو چې مو وکی کې خپل لایف کې چینج راولو نو هغې دپاره ضروري دی چې مو خپل دو شیانو کې مسلسل لکه دا شیونه خپل زندگی کې مسلسل کوو نو هغې وجې نه چې ده که نه مو لایف کې څه چینج راتلی شي دې نه بغیر نشي راتلی نو که مو غواړو چې مو خپل زندگی ښایسته شي مو خپل انوایرمنټ ښه شي نو هغې دپاره مو ته دو شیانو نه ډېر زیات ضرورت ده. نو انداغه شی چې ده که نه مین آیډیا د پویم والا. How do little deeds of kindness make our life happy? Little words of love and little deeds of kindness can make us even dear to our own enemies, and thus we can make this world a happy place to live. Our little deeds of kindness make this world heaven for us and for others. Therefore, we should love and respect our elders. These little words of love and little deeds of kindness, it is repeatedly used in these question answers, and even in poem the poetess has ended this poem with this beautiful message that with the help of kindness and love we can even become dear to our enemies. We can even become friends to them if we are so much consistent in our these acts. So if we want to make this life a happy place for us as well as for others, we need to be consistent in these things. We need to focus on how these little things can bring huge changes in our life. So in order to attain this, we should respect our elders. We should look after our the elderly people, the sick people, even the children around who are deprived of something, we should provide them with each and everything. So in this way we can bring about some great changes. Little words or little kindness چکم ده کنه اهامو خلقو تا even خپل دشمن چکم وی کنه هو تم وجدو کویشی دات واشي نه دوره امپورټنٹ وی مو لایف کې چې اها مو کوم غواړو چې مو خپل لایف خپل ژوندۍ خستا کو مو ته دا شي نه خپل ژوندۍ کې روستن پکار دي نو مو ته پکار دي چې مو خپل ژوندۍ کې خپل مشران ولا عزت کو وړو باندې خیال ساتو که څوک بیماران یا هو دې پاره څه کول شو هول څه هیلپ کوي شنو دا خبرې چې ته کنه دا ډیر زیات غټ چینجز راولي لایف کې او مو ژوندۍ دې سره ډیر زیات خوشحالي سره تیریږي. Write about the little act of kindness that you have performed recently. There isn't an old man in our neighbor. No one was there to work for him. One day he fell ill. As I got the news, I went to fetch a doctor for him. Doctor treated him and he recovered from illness by the grace of God. In return, the old man prayed to God for my prosperity and well-being. So it means that when we help someone, in return we also get something. It's not a one way thing. It's a two-way thing. Like if you do something for a person, in return that person will do something, or God will help you in any other ways. यो जैसे कि कसो ओल्ड मैन वो मोला नेबर्स की नो अगत अगवल सुग नो कना चाहो दे पारे कार करे नो यो रीज जैसे शेवी च अग इत कस छिद कना अहा बीमार शो अगत छिद न्यूज़ बेलाव शो नो दे पारे डॉक्टर रावस नो अहा चिकल टिक शो नो वापस अग दे कस दे पारे दुआ काने वकरले चे खुशहाली वाला ओ तंदुरुस्ती वाला लगा देशी वाला अग दे पारे दुआ काने वकरले नो ते मतलब से शो मुकलन चादी पर शको नो आहा मुद सिर्फ यो तरफ ने भी आहा बल तरफ ने भी आकस मुद या आकस मुदे पढ़ सके या मुद गॉड तरफ ना जैसे यो आही वाला चुदा कहना इनाम मिलाओ शी चुकुम मु आही मुताहिना खुशहाली कीगी. Question number 4. How can we make a world a better place to live in? We can make this world a better place to live by taking care of little things. We only need little deeds of kindness and little words of love. For this, only these two things are enough to make our world like the heaven above. So it is quite repeatedly here mentioned that how these two things are important in order to make our life better in this world. مو वाले ज़िंदगी के सिर्फ दो चीज़ें ज़रूरी दी, act of kindness and words of love. दात वाशीने ज़रूरी दी कि मुख्तलिफ़ ज़िंदगी अंधे दुनिया के खिस्ता को दात पोइटिज्म अंधेशी में नहीं फोकस की. Write down the nouns used in the poem: water, grains, sands, ocean, land, moments, eternity, kindness. All these are abstract nouns, like we cannot feel them physically. Words, love, all these things. Earth, Eden, and heaven, these are also nouns. So some of them are physical, like concrete nouns, and some are abstract nouns, but all together they are nouns. देखिए चुकुम दी abstract nouns दी नीम और नीम concrete nouns दी. Abstract nouns मुदेते यायु चे कुम मु feel कमेनो शु या मुता कतल नशी खो आहा वी nouns. और concrete nouns आवी चुकुम physically existence भी वाला मतलब आमु feel कवे शु आहे तमु कतल शु मु आहा touch कवेम शु लगा water शु grains शु sand शु ocean शु land शु Eden या heaven या earth शु दाशी ना concrete nouns दी हे ना इलेवन और अटोल abstract nouns दी. Find out the objects of nature in the poem: drops of water, grains of sand, mighty ocean, and pleasant land. So these are the objects of nature which are mentioned in the poem. Mostly the objects of nature are mentioned in order to create our imagination. These things help us to imagine the things the poetess wants to convey us, or the poetess wants us to imagine. Grab summary. Fill in the gaps with the suitable words from the text. So as we have repeatedly answered the questions, as well as we have read the theme and also the poem, so now we know that what should be the appropriate words that should fill in those gaps. So let me read this. In this poem, the poet explains that how little things have great importance in life. Little drops of water make big oceans, and little grains of sand makes the world a beautiful place. She explains that the little moments of life turn into mighty ages. So with the help of reading the poem as well as the theme and also by answering those questions, so I think you people have learned that what should be the appropriate word that should fill in those gaps. Okay, next is the vocabulary. Okay, so in this thing we can read out that read the words carefully and note the stressed and unstressed syllables. Okay, the first one is husband. Like you can feel the stress is on the first syllable. About, arrive, remarkable, important. So the words that are the letters and the alphabets which are written with bold letters are actually showing that where the stress is, whether it is on the first syllable and whether it is on the second syllable. Okay, first of all, let me explain that what is a syllable. Syllable, for example, if there is a word and we have got two vowels in it, in that word, so it means that we have two syllables in it. And if there are two syllables in it, so we will be focusing on it, that whether the stress is on the first syllable or whether it is on the second one. So we need to figure out it. So in the next and mostly the mark is given which shows the main stress in a word. So in the next we will be doing it ourselves. The first one is socially. So it has got three syllables, SOCIAL, second one, LY is the third one. So it has got three. Socially, so it's on the first one. The stress is on the first one. Knowledge has also got two syllables. The stress is on the first one, that is KNOWL. This is the first syllable, and EDGE, this is the second syllable. Can you feel the stress? That is knowledge. So the stress is on the first one. Prominent has got three syllables. PROM, this is the first syllable, I is the second one, and NENT is the third one. Prominent. So this stress is on the first one. Famous, FA is the separate syllable, and MOUS is the second one, but the stress is on the first. Pollen, POL, and the next one is LEN. Stress is on the first. So the next is the rhyming words used in the poem, like sand and land. Add two more rhyming words in each line. Make, rhyming is the word that ends with the same sound as you already have learned. Make, fake, cake. Deed, weed, need. Like, bike, and hike. So you can see that how the same sounds are repeated in the end. So when the words end in the same sound, we call it rhyming words. Syllable chida kanamu ahitayayu chikum vowel vi. Vowel ke desivi chik, so your word ke jisura vowel vi no akora musara syllable vi. No damu chikum ahike bela stress patterns vi. Like for example, in socially then I have three syllables. Stress chikum vi kana stress matlab you आवाज़ वाला जोर. आयो first vowel बनी हुई. Mostly words के first vowel बनी हुई. और depend कई चिमु pronounce का उत्संगे. ना ही सर्वदा changes रहती. By rhyming words मोहिते यू चिकुम आह words चिकुम अखपल end के चिदा कने sound यो बनी हुई. Like मुद्दे के वैल्यू से sand, land, fake, cake, make. No देना मुझे पता लगा कि आगा words चुकुम वाला sound end के यो होनी भी no आगे तमु rhyming words ही आयु. Adjectives of quality. The adjectives that describe the quality of a noun are called adjectives of quality. For example, Karachi is a big city. So big is an quality. For example, if a thing is big, small, it is red, like color. If we are mentioning its color, its size, whether it is good or bad, all these things come in the category of the quality of adjectives. Adjectives chukum you noun wala quality hai ahe tamu adjectives of quality ya you. For example, big city. No, you city big da. City noun the big adjective of quality show. Kayu she color ki mukhayu ya wala size mukhayu ya kamu da khayu jaga khatsange da bad da khada da tuli khabari adjectives of quality kiratsi. So pick out the adjectives of quality in the following sentences. The girl has a sweet voice. Sweet is adjective of quality. Ali is a fine batsman. Fine is an adjective of quality. That is a big house. Big is the adjective of quality. I like red roses. So red is the adjective of quality. It is a bright day. Bright is an adjective of quality. So you have figured out that all these things are defining the noun, that how it is sweet, is it bright, it is red, it is big, it is small. All these things are mentioning that how that noun is. Okay. The next is the adjective of quantity. So the adjectives which tell the number or amount of a noun are called adjectives of quantity. Adjectives of quantity answer the question how many or how much. For example, 4 boys ran down the street. So here we are, how many means how many in number and how much in quantity. Like for example, 4 boys ran down the street. So here 4 means how many boys. So 4 boys. So it is showing us the quantity. Aha adjectives chukumu the number khay noun wala che asura amount ke da wala number sura da no the adjectives of quantity ayu. Now quantity muta how many or how much wala this questions wala answer raki. For example, 4 boys ran down the street. Now dekhe 4 chida kana or adjective of quantity da. Pick out the adjectives of quantity in the following sentences. Step back 3 spaces. 3 is the adjective of quantity. He made several mistakes. Several is adjective of quantity. I speak few words. Few is the adjective of quantity. He is 90 years of age. 90 years is the adjective of quantity. Did you get many marks? Many is the adjective of quantity. Absolute adjectives. Absolute adjectives do not have comparative and superlative forms. If something is complete, then this is an absolute adjective. Mostly adjectives have comparative forms, superlative forms, in which in comparative we show comparison. In superlative we either add it es or est, like such forms. But sometimes there are adjectives which are complete, which do not shows whether they are less or they are more. Either they are, instead they show that they are complete in itself. For example, it is essential for us to know him. Essential cannot be used in comparative and superlatives. Like for example, we cannot add er to make it comparative, like essentialer or essentialist, by making it superlative. Rather, it is essential, and it does not need any other thing to make it to show its degree. So it is absolute adjective. So I hope that the absolute concept of absolute adjective is clear. Absolute adjective agiti chikum wala comparative या superlative forms nevi. Comparative form avi chikum salamu er add ku, और superlative form avi chikum salamu est add ku. हो निम words दसी भी चाहो सर दाद भरने add की अहो ना यूशे ज़ेद खई ना कम खई अहो वाला अहो पलक के आहा word completely अही वाला it's comparative or superlative form nevi. No this adjectives तजुदा कना मो absolute adjectives या you. Write whether the following words are absolute adjectives or not. Perfect. Perfect is an absolute adjective. Complete, absolute adjective. Red, absolute adjective. Dead, absolute adjective. Small, it is not an absolute adjective. And smart, it is also not absolute adjective. Because in small, we can add comparative and superlative degrees are there for this adjective. Like we can add er to make it smaller and est to make it smallest. In the same way, we can add er to make smart smarter, and by adding est we can show its superlative form smartest. So these two are such adjectives which have their degrees, so they are not absolute adjective. And the rest of the four words are absolute adjectives because they have got no comparative or superlative forms. Like we cannot say that a person is deader or deadest. If a person is dead, so he is dead. There is no need to say that he is more deader than other person. So we can say that he is simply dead. Red, a thing is red, not more red or less red, or we cannot say that it is redder or reddest. So in this is the same happens with the absolute, perfect and complete. All of the four words are absolute adjectives. Regular and irregular adjectives. Regular adjectives make their comparative and superlative forms either by adding the suffixes er or est or use more and most. Like for example, pretty, prettier, prettiest, beautiful, more beautiful, and most beautiful. Irregular adjectives do not make their comparative and superlative forms by adding the suffixes er or est or more, like and most. The comparative and superlative form of bad is bad, worse, and worst. Regular adjectives are comparative or superlative forms via are simply mu er est verser add ku ya more ya most verser add ku no a whole chukum superlative or comparative rovasi no hete mu regular adjectives ayu ho adjectives chukum wala comparative or superlative forms er or est sar ne judegi or na more or most verser lagi no adjectives tamu irregular adjectives ayu like a bad wala ogura comparative worse ta o superlative worst ta no de sar namu er add kare da namu est add kare da namu sar more add kare na most no the case ke mu adjective ta irregular adjective ayu और नोर केसेस के चुकुम सर मोर या मोस्ट यूज़ कीगी या ई आर यू यूज़ कीगी या ई एस टी यूज़ कीगी नो आहे द रेगुलर एडजेक्टिव्स या यू. Write down the comparative and superlative degrees of the following adjectives. Classify whether the adjective is regular or irregular. The first has been done. Like good, better, best. These three are different from each other. So it means they are irregular adjectives. Keep this thing in mind that irregular adjectives and regular adjectives both have comparative and superlative, the types or forms. But the difference is that the first one, that is irregular, do not have er or est or more or most used with them. And in the later, that is regular adjective, the form er or est is used. Also more and most is also used. So it makes them regular adjectives. The next one is far, farther, farthest. It's a regular adjective. Happy, happier, happiest. Regular adjective. Little, less, least. It's an irregular adjective. Expensive, more expensive, most expensive. Regular adjective. Big, bigger, biggest. Regular adjective. Cheap, cheaper, cheapest. Regular adjective. Many, more, most. It's an irregular adjective. And one more thing, you might be confused when to use more and most. When a word do not have comparative or superlative form by adding es or est, we simply use more and most with it. More is used with comparative forms and most is used with the superlative forms. Words chukum sara er या est न लागी और whole superlative और comparative ते तरीके से न जुड़ेगी न आही सरा more और most use करो. More comparative की use कीगी और most चिदा कने superlative की use कीगी. No. I hope these concept of irregular, regular adjectives, absolute adjectives, adjectives of quantity and quality, all these concepts are clear to you people, and we will be looking forward to complete the rest of the chapters as soon as possible. Hope this chapter is clear to you people now. Thank you so much.